Everybody, welcome back to Social Media, the YouTube channel where we talk all things horror. How is everybody doing? Hope everyone's doing well. And today, guys, I'll be doing another movie review for you. I got this script done, so I don't have to take weeks until I bring out the next review. Sorry. But the next review for Scream 6 won't come out until I get the DVD or Blu-ray, which will possibly be the 18th. Also, I'm going to cinema with friends to see Blue Beetle. So I'm going to go to a DVD, I'll go to a movie store shop and get physical copy of Scream 5, which is what today's Scream 6. But today we are going to be reviewing Scream 5, which is directed by Matt Butinelli Alpin, along with Tyler Gillett. This film released, by the way, those guys are from Radio Silence. Radio Silence worked on Scream 5 and 6, but now they are going to be producers on Scream 7 by the seams of it, and a different director will be taking over. The guy who directed Freaky and both of the Happy Death Day films. He will be directing Scream. I'm hoping he won't make it too comedic and keep the style of what was happening. But I really am kind of disappointed we're not going to see Radio Silence's third movie. But I hope he does bring back the Legacy Core 4. That's my main point, is I hope he brings back the Core 4. But I digress. Scream 5 was released in January 14th, 2020 in the US and the UK. But let's get into a review and see what I think about Scream 5. The movie opens with Tara Carpenter, played by Jenna Ortega, with her name being Carpenter is probably a nod to John Carpenter, who directed the first Halloween movie and so on, and different franchises within the horror space. Probably a nod to that guy. Tara gets a phone call from someone who says he went to group with Tara's mother. I wonder how that goes.
Tara.
But the person on the phone turns out to be the killer. As they threaten to kill Tara's friend, Amber, the killer gets Tara playing the famous movie trivia game, but she gets one of the questions wrong.
The correct answer is Billy Loomis and Stu Marker. There are two killers in the original stab. I'm afraid someone's gotta die now.
Tara goes to her front door and opens it up as the killer is there and attacks Tara, which ends with her with a broken leg and with the police sirens, and we get the famous knife swipe. At least in this film, there's no fake death, fake opening death, then fake opening death. Because I feel like if that happened, I would be surely to say my brain hurts. Next, we meet Tara's sister, Sam Carpenter, played by Melissa Barrera, and her boyfriend, Richie Kirsch, played by Jack Quaid, who gives us this line.
You are my boner pals.
No.
Sam gets a phone call from one of Tara's friends, who tells Sam that her sister was attacked and stabbed. She decides to go back to Woodsboro, but Richie decides to go with her. Then we meet all of Tara's friends. Mindy Meeks Martin, played by Jasmine Savoy, along with Amber Freeman, played by Mikey Madison, and Wes Hicks, played by Dylan Minnette, who you may know from the 13 Reasons Why, based on the book of the same name. Joining them is Mindy's twin brother, Chad Meeks Martin, played by Mason Gooding, and his girlfriend Liv Mackenzie, played by Sonia Amar. From a distance, we meet Sheriff Judy Hicks, played by Marla Shelton. Yes, that Judy Hicks. She is Wes's mother. I don't know how though, because it's never explained when she had him. So he's younger than Sam, but as we know, Sam went to the same school as Kirby Reed. Apparently, because they knew each other. Sam and Kirby knew each other. So by that means that they went to the same school. So, timeline-wise, I have no idea where Wes Hicks comes from. Maybe that he was there. Maybe he was a lot younger in Scream 4 and they never mentioned him. That, or they really just wanted her to have a kid to make it more gut-punching. Which probably is the reason why. I'm just going to say that. Yeah, and she was a deputy in Scream 4, and she is the sheriff of the town, taking over from Dewey. Then we meet another character from a distance, who Liv had a summer fling with, Vince Schneider, played by Kyle Gellner. Sam and Richie arrive at the hospital to visit Tara. As the friend group leaves, Tara asks Sam to stay with her and sleep in the hospital room to protect and keep her company. After this, we are in a bar where the friend group are playing pool. As they are talking, Vince walks up to them to ask Liv to have a drink with him. When Chad confronts him and is threatened with a knife. But the bartender does kick them all out of there before anything is able to happen. Vince is now peeing behind the bar when his car lights are turned on. He thinks it is Chad doing it.
Is that you, pretty boy? Huh? Get out of my fucking car!
The song Red Right Hand by Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds can be heard playing on his car radio. As you know, Red Right Hand is used in pretty much all of the Scream movies. He is then attacked and killed by Ghostface. Back at the hospital, Sam gets up to go and get some food. Tara is asleep. Richie is watching Stab on Netflix because it's a great time to watch Netflix. She goes to a room with a sink inside and takes some medication. When she looks into the mirror, she sees Billy Loomis, played by a returned, de-aged Skeet Ulrich.
How you doing, Sam? Antipsychotics aren't working.
After that, she gets a phone call from the killer, as the killer says they know Sam's secret. And Sam is then attacked by the killer. She fights them off and manages to get away from the killer. Back in Tara's room, they are talking about what is happening, as Sheriff Hicks talks to Sam outside. Sam goes back into the room asking to be alone with Tara. Sam goes on to tell Tara her secret, as she tells Tara,
and shoving this diary in her face, and I didn't even realize that Dad was standing right behind me.
But then she says who her father really is.
Those diaries told me who my real father was. It was Billy Loomis.
Tara tells her to leave. When Sam does, she is jump scared by Richie, who heard the conversation. Sam is telling him to leave the town, but he tells her no. They decide to go to someone's home who knows about Ghostface killings. We meet Dewey Riley, again played by David Arquette, who is not the sheriff anymore and no longer a cop. As he is watching TV, he is watching a news show ran by the one and only Gail Weathers, played by Courtney Cox, as things didn't work out between them both, and it did reflect what happened in real life, because in real life they also broke up. They dated, and they're basically best friends anyway in real life, and like Gail says, they're best friends in movie universe as well. Sam and Richie arrive at his door as Sam says she is Billy Loomis' daughter. Dewey answers the door. He lets them in as they talk to him about the experience with the Ghostface killings. They want his help, but he doesn't want to do it anymore. So they leave Dewey. Dewey stands up and calls everyone's favourite final girl, returning Sydney Prescott, played by Neve Campbell, who is living in the city. She has 2 daughters. Also, Dewey asks her this.
Pretty good. How are you? How's Mark?
I think I'll keep him.
If you remember, there was a character way back in Scream 3 called Detective Mark Kincaid, who was played by Patrick Dempsey. Well, people when Scream 5 came out were wondering who Sydney was married to, called Mark, and mostly people were saying it was Mark Kincaid, which ended up being the truth. Because of a lot of people liking Mark's character and the actor portraying him as I am, and I'm glad it turned out to be that character, which I hope will return in any movie. I hope that the new director sees that we want Sydney back, possibly, and I want to see Mark. Even if Neve doesn't return, I'd love to see Mark be the guy who decides, you know what, I'll take your spot and take on Ghostface this time. Sam and Richie go to the twins' home as Sam asked all of the main group to be there, as Dewey arrives after them.
Holy shit, he came.
I've decided to temporarily assist you.
They are in the living room as we meet the twins' mother, Martha Meeks, played by Heather Matarazzo, who had a brief scene in Scream 3 and is the sister of Randy Meeks, making Randy the twins' uncle, which explains why Mindy is the expert of this generation. Sam decides to tell the group she is the daughter of Billy. They all talk when Mindy...
version of Stab 8, but doing it as a requel.
Which is?
See, you can't just reboot a franchise from scratch anymore. The fans won't stand for it.
Yeah, to be honest, I like Mindy. She is a great addition to the franchise. And they made her and Chad's sibling twin dynamic very well. It seems very organic. Sam leaves as the group try to say Sam is the killer. Sam leaves in her car as she sees Billy again hallucinating him in her car mirror.
Find out who's doing this and cut some fucking throats!
No!
Later, we arrive at Wes Hicks' home as Judy leaves to go get takeout for the both of them. Wes gets a shower as Judy is in her car and she gets a phone call from the killer.
Favorite scary movie?
I prefer animated films and musicals. Why are you doing this?
I'll tell you all about it. I'm going to turn...
The killer mentions they are at her home. Judy gets back home as she runs to the front door, but is attacked and killed by Ghostface, which I'm really surprised they did it so out in the open and in daylight. How did no one see that? How did no one see that she's been murdered? You might be wondering why I'm questioning why they killed her off, which, to be honest, yeah, no one gives a fuck. She was a creepy character, and to be honest, she didn't really do much in Scream. She didn't do much in Scream 4. Just be a massive red herring and very obsessed with Dewey. Like, she was godly awful obsessed with him. Wes gets out of the shower and gets dressed, setting out the table for dinner. As we get, which I assume is a long take of Wes opening things as the audience think the killer will be there, behind them. He hears a noise seeing the door is open. He goes and closes it, but he is attacked and killed very gruesomely, which this effect was done practically. By the way, his death was actually more heartfelt than Judy's, to me. Like, cause I like Dylan Minnette and I liked Wes. So he was like very like a younger Dewey kind of situation, which I wish he would have been one of the survivors, but I'm glad we got the survivors that we did. Sam arrives at the crime scene along with Gail Weathers and also Dewey, who Gail goes up to, wondering why he told her with a text message that they have a Ghostface situation. They have a little talk about their situation and the killings we end up with Richie eating pizza on a laptop, watching a YouTube video. If you are in the horror community, you may recognize the two people on the screen, James and Chelsea from the YouTube channel Dead Meat, who, in this movie, play overreacting versions of themselves of a channel called Film Fails. Sam calls him as they talk. She sees a deputy who was supposed to be watching Tara, so she runs to her car as Dewey goes with her. We're at the hospital. Tara hears noises as she gets herself into her wheelchair. She goes around the hospital floor in the dark, looking around. She hides inside a room. Someone walks in. She hits them, but it turns out to be Richie.
Look out!
Tara gets out of there. The killer takes Richie's phone as Sam is calling. The killer lets her know it's them. The killer grabs Tara's wheelchair as Tara is on the ground. She crawls away. Sam and the killer talk.
Please, I'm begging you,
Or say, kill Tara, and I'll make sure to hit all the organs I missed last time.
No, fuck you. I'm begging you, please.
But Sam was just buying them time as they arrive to the floor by the elevator. Dewey shoots at the killer. As they run into a room next to them, Sam runs to help Tara, as Dewey begins to help Richie, but Dewey and the killer end up having a little scuffle. He gets out of it as they all go to the elevator, but Dewey decides to go back as he knows you have to shoot them in the head.
What?
You have to shoot them in the head, or they always come back.
Dewey, who gives a fuck?
I do.
No, Dewey!
He walks over to where the killer is, knocked out, pointing the gun at them. As his phone goes off,
An honor.
yes, Dewey is killed off at this point. I remember being in the cinema and watching this and being like, no, not Dewey, why Dewey? And I just think if it was going to be somebody, it would be him. The guy's been attacked multiple times and survived every time. He had plot armor all the way through. And I feel like out of everybody who deserved a death like that, it was him. I feel like he needed a way out, and I think really a death was the only way to do it. But I am sad. He was done dirty, but I understand why they did it. Gail arrives at the hospital as she heard about what happened. As she breaks down crying after a talk with Sam, Sydney arrives and talks to Gail as they talk and hug. Back in Tara's room, Sam, Tara and Richie decide to leave the town. Sam is stopped by Sydney outside. As she tells her she's been through this a lot. As Gail gets there, they ask Sam for help to kill this person or persons. Sam refuses as Sam, Tara and Richie leave in their car. Tara tries to look for her inhaler as she has asthma, but she knows Amber has one at her house as they start to drive there. We end up back at Amber's house as she is having a party. Chad gets a shot poured for him as he...
Thank you. Hey! To Wes! Beautiful son of a bitch.
Shots? Really? This is supposed to...
Which is a nod to Wes Hicks' death in the movie, but also is for Wes Craven, the man who created the first 4 Scream movies in the franchise, who sadly passed away sometime after the 4th installment. Chad and Liv are on the couch as he...
Entirely sure that you're not the killer.
Don't take this the wrong way.
No, look, I'm like...
Yeah, Chad, well done. As Mindy is sat watching the first Stam movie, Chad goes to find Liv. He continues to look for her when he is attacked outside by the killer. Sam, Tara and Richie arrive as Tara asks Amber for her inhaler and tells her she's leaving town. Amber decides to end the party. No one will leave, so Richie does the honours. A moment later, Mindy and Liv have a little confrontation when Mindy looks at her wondering where her brother is and thinking Liv could be the killer. Back with Gail and Sydney as they have been tracking Sam. Sydney realizes what house they are at. Sydney rings Sam telling her they are at Stu Mocker's house.
You're in Stu Mocker's house where your dad and Stu killed everyone. Someone planned to get you there. You need to get the fuck out, Sam.
Mindy is then still sat on the couch watching the movie scene where the killer is behind Randy, as the killer is also behind her. She is shouting at the TV when...
Oh, shit!
Sam runs to that room as Mindy is being attacked, but holding her own for now. Sam attacks the killer with a lamp as they run away. All the group are talking in a circle as Liv arrived. She has blood on her, saying she found Chad as they accuse her as the killer. When...
Killer! I know.
Welcome to Act 3.
Yep. Amber is one of our killers. Richie gets Sam away from there while Tara fights off Amber. Sam leaves the basement, leaving Richie inside. Sydney and Gail arrive, grabbing weapons as Amber runs out of the door, pretending to be hurt. But the OGs are not too trusting anymore.
Help me! Stop me!
What do you think? Trap.
Fuck it.
Gail is hit by a bullet from Amber as Sydney shoots back, but Amber does get away. Sydney goes inside as she looks around. Sam is in a room with a knife as she hears a noise from a wardrobe. She looks and finds Tara tied up and taped around her mouth, but it is left with question if she lets her go or not. Since Richie earlier told Sam he thinks Tara is the other killer. Back to Sydney, she gets a phone call from the killer.
Hello, Sydney.
Hello there. Where'd you go?
Oh, this isn't Amber. I'm the other one.
Oh.
She barges into a room finding Richie hiding. She points her gun at him. Richie stumbles down the stairs as the killer tries to grab the gun on the floor. When Sam grabs it first, Richie gets to Sam, stabbing her in the side, revealing himself as the other killer. Sydney tries to get up.
Sit the fuck down, Prescott!
Amber takes her mask off. I'm going to tell you all the killer's motive. Amber and her parents moved into Stu's home. She searched up about the house, finding a forum for Stab, meeting Richie as he is a Stab fan too. When they both find out who Sam is, they hatched the plan to get Stab back on track to being movies based on true crime events again, as they want the old Scream back. They both want to put themselves as victims but surviving and want Sam to be the villain of their movie. After the whole kill reveal scene, Amber was sent to get Tara, but it is revealed Tara isn't where they left her. In fact, Sam did let her go. Tara attacks Amber with her crutch. Sam and Richie fight as she gets away. Richie goes looking for her, as Amber, after a fight with Tara, goes back in the kitchen as she is attacked by Sydney. They have a fight as Gail is there too. After a scene with Richie, we are back with Amber as she tries to choke Gail out. Gail pushes her back as Amber turns the oven on. Sydney passes her a gun.
No, stop, I'm sorry about doing it.
Fuck you.
Back to Richie and Sam, they fight falling back down the stairs. Sam crawls as Richie is behind her, pointing his gun, as she sees her dad in the mirror again. Seeing a knife hidden by some curtains, Richie says something about rules when Sam replies with, "She's introducing a new rule." Richie wanting to know what that rule is.
Never fuck with the daughter of a serial killer.
As she stabs him repeatedly, he asks her to stop. She cuts his throat, ending his life. Gail, Sydney, and Sam stand looking at his body. Sydney mentions that the killer always come back. But Sam grabs the gun from Gail, shooting Richie twice in the body and one in the head. When...
I still prefer the Babadook.
After this, we get the reveal of Mindy and her brother, Chad, are still alive. Sam leaves in the ambulance with Tara as the movie ends with a zoom out with a shot of the house and news reporters talking about the events, referencing back to how the original movie ended so long ago. This movie came out around the time of the popularity of the Halloween franchise's return. The rights to the Scream franchise went back to Wes Craven's estate, and soon after we got an announcement for this movie. Characters and actors a little after were shown and announced to a lot of videos were made. The Scream franchise was back. Soon after this movie came out, the 6th movie was announced. Still hoping for Scream 7 soon. This movie to me is amazing. It's well done and well performed. It builds off the original movies and changes stuff slightly to keep us, the fans and audience, still interested while making it fresh. This movie is very good. It's still somewhat meta, but isn't up in your face too much. The killers were surprising. The fact that Sam was Billy's daughter was also interesting, and her seeing him in the mirrors and was such well done. Overall, this movie lived up to the originals, living up to the legacy of Wes Craven. So with that said, I'm going to give this movie, Scream 5, a 9.8 rating. Hey everybody, I hope you did enjoy my movie review of Scream 5. As I said, I won't be doing Scream 6 until I get my hands on the physical movie for footage purposes and stuff like that. But I will be doing that soon, I hope. Yes, I am wearing an Evil Dead shirt while reviewing Scream. Whatever, it's still horror. But yeah, I hope everybody did enjoy today's video. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe and all that good stuff. If you're new here, welcome to social media. And I hope everybody did enjoy. Go to the links down below to all of our social medias and all that. As well, listen to our podcast, Slasher Cast. Listen to our podcast, Slasher Cast, which is brought to you by the Slasher Cast Podcast Network. And we hope everybody did enjoy. And remember, keep on slashing, keep watching horror. And we will see you horror fans later. Bye for now.
Whatever you do, don't fall asleep.
Have you checked the children?
I am the devil, and I am here to do the devil's work.
We all go a little mad sometimes.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?